Jeff, the hunting gear guy here again. Today I wanted to show you guys a product that's kind of new to our marketplace here, and it's the T97.ca FTU, or flat top upper. They were kind enough to send me one to review on my T97, and it's a pretty cool kit. I'm just going to leave it zoomed out here so you can kind of see what it looks like overall. I'm going to crank it in just a bit so I can show some of the things that are on here. So this is a new upper that these guys have developed for the T97. They've done a couple of other things for the M14s that have been pretty cool. And this one, I think this addresses one of the big issues with the T97, which is the lack of a decent way to mount optics. If you've seen my other video, you'll know that one of the things I complained about was this carry handle, and not so much a carry handle as just what it meant. It meant that mounting optics to this thing wasn't really all that great. You had to either put a really decent cheek rest on this thing to get enough height, or you needed to go with a really low mounted optic like a red dot or even just using just the iron sights because it was that low. So this thing definitely addresses that. This gives you a huge rail to mount whatever kind of optic you might want on it. I've got this little 3x32 Nikon on here for now. I might change it later on, I don't know. Secondarily, what this thing does, so the optics is definitely the most important point to me, but aside from that, it has helped with a couple of things. Grabbing the charging handle before was a little bit of a pain in the butt. You kind of had to grab this other handle. You kind of had to put your fingers in, grab it because it was a top mounted charging handle, and pull it back. It wasn't fantastic, wasn't really robust. And with this flat top upper, what they've done is put a non-reciprocating side charging handle on it. So you can see here that you have to pull out that factory top charging handle, and you replace it with this non-reciprocating piece, which means that once you've got it cocked and locked, you can fire, and it just kind of stays forward. It's not going to flip back and forth. You just have this little piece back here that's going to go back and forth. So that's kind of nice. It wasn't a huge issue to me. The biggest issue on usability with this thing definitely was still the safety. With a semi-automatic, when I'm hunting with semi-automatics, I do like to keep the safety on. I like to keep them charged, around in the chamber, safety on. When I see an animal that I need to take, I flip the safety and I pull the trigger. With this thing, it's a total pain in the butt because you keep in mind you've got this thing up on your shoulder and you've got to reach back and grab it. So that hasn't been addressed just yet, but I imagine with the Canadian marketplace that'll be addressed. The other thing to keep in mind is this mag release is also kind of a pain in the butt, as in it's on the rates. It's on the wrong side of the gun. So that's still kind of a pain in the butt. But the main one being, now we finally got optics mounted on this rifle, and now I can actually use it to take it out coyote hunting. I mean, I don't get to see coyotes at 50 yards. Typically I'm engaging them at 200, 300. They're not really moving all that fast, but having a semi-automatic for quick follow-up shots, a big plus to me. So that's kind of taking care of what problem this addresses. Getting into general quality, I was really impressed with this unit. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments out there saying the same thing. It's a really decently machined piece. Here, I'm just going to pull it up to the camera here. There we go. It's really light. They've done a lot of lightening cuts on this thing to keep the weight down. The entire rifle's still heavier than an AR-15, but you know, so be it. It's got this finish on it. They say it's a hard anodized finish, and to me it almost feels like a manganese phosphate finish, almost like a parkerizing. It's kind of rough, it's a bit matte, and that's nice because it matches the rest of the rifle. It looks like the rest of the plastic or metal on this thing, so that's really good. You know, I'm more than happy with the quality on this thing. Getting into installation, if you have a T97 and you've pulled it apart, if you haven't, just check out my video on disassembling these things. you'll see that there's kind of this front sight tower way up here, and we've got a rear sight tower back here. With this install, you permanently alter those. You cut those buggers off right at the middle, basically, and use them as a mounting point for this upper. So if you want to keep your rifle factory, tough luck. You can't do it with this upper. My opinion on that, like, who cares, right? I mean, the factory sights aren't fantastic. They're kind of these tiny little rotating diopters on the back, and I wasn't really a big fan of them. I could hit stuff far out with them, but again, I wanted a little bit of zoom. I wanted a little bit of magnification so I could make those hits a little bit farther out. And for me, the iron sights weren't cutting it. So, and because they are so high, they will stop anyone who's going to make an upper for this thing from mounting those optics really low. So you do have to cut those off. It's kind of like a 15-minute Dremel job. You knock the ones off the back, off the front, and in their place, what they've got. Let me see if I can grab a decent image of this. There we go. What they put in place are these steel clamps. So you can see there where I've cut off this front sight tower, and this piece underneath, the rest of this upper is aluminum, but they've used steel, so they're clamping steel on steel here onto the front and rear sight towers. So they've got a really strong purchase point. They've got a really nice fit to the sides. They've got a really super firm steel to steel fit on the sight towers, and that's given this mount is like it's on there. It's not going anywhere, and that's, you need that for an optics mount. But that really impressed me. With some of these rifles, you do have to sand away the sides of the sight tower underneath here in order to get this rear on. I had to do that. I've got a buddy who got one of these, and he didn't have to do it. So your mileage might vary. It might be something that you have to do. It might not be something that you have to do. So keep that in mind. The other thing to notice is that with these steel clamps that they've gone on here, they've also, so you get Loctite in with the kit. They've also got these little kind of set screws that they've put in here, and those go against the threads. So this thing is locked in there really tight, and I don't see this thing moving at all after you finished your install. So I'm pretty happy. I think that I'm gonna have a nice solid rest here for my scope, and I'm pumped. I'm ready to shoot this thing, and
so let's rock and
see
roll.
what it's like.
It's got a non-reciprocating charging handle on the left-hand side. That's where I prefer to leave it.
Hey guys, one thing I just realized I forgot to mention in the video. This upper does have these side slots on the front to add on rail sections. So if you want to tactical this thing and throw lights or lasers or whatever the heck you want to throw in here, you can. I've got this Magpul polymer piece here. You can mount these things on either side of the FTU. Personally, I won't be putting anything on because, like I said, I want to use this thing for hunting, so I'm trying to keep it clean. But I thought I'd mention it anyways, just in case any of you had that question.